Hello and welcome to Board Now's Cult TV Reviews, and on this video I will be reviewing the first episode of the third season of Glow, and the episode is called Up, Up, Up. So yeah, this just debuted today on Netflix, the Netflix original show from the same showrunner as Orange is the New Black and Weeds, and yeah, I really loved the first two seasons. Season one was very enjoyable, and I thought season two was even better when it got down to like greater character development and really interesting themes and characters, but very entertaining, great music. So yeah, I've been really enjoying Glow the first two seasons. So yeah, these will be regular reviews. It's a 10 episode season, so I'm gonna space it out a bit because it's on Netflix, so they're all up now, but I will do them as regular as possible. Hope to do a few this week. So yeah, I will go into spoilers just to warn you. But I don't really need to set it up because, if you're watching this video, chances are you've seen the first two seasons of Glow and you're a fan of the show. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, obviously. So basically, where we left off in season two is that the ladies' show was cancelled. The network decided to pull it, but as a consolation sort of thing, they were rewarded with a sort of a plum tour in Vegas, and at this time, and I guess still today, Vegas is seen as a hot ticket if you can have a tour or events at Vegas venues, then it's seen as a really big deal, and for the women wrestlers in this show, that would be a big opportunity to showcase their talents. But a very different sort of production, a very different sort of format, and the sort of people they're dealing with. So I think that's going to come across in this episode, or it does come across. And there's an introduction of a new character for this season, Sandy, and she's the local promoter, and she's played by the great Geena Davis, which is a fantastic cast addition this season. They do have some good guest stars, and Geena Davis, a bit of a legend who you don't see very often anymore. She sort of makes really sparse appearances, but this is, yeah, a great cast member. She just seems perfect for Glow, considering her reputation as, a really sort of strong female role model, feminist sort of actress. But yeah, here she's just playing this very cynical, shady, kind of money-grabbing promoter. So Sandy basically owns the casino where the shows will be taking place. And so it gets a little bit into the fact that essentially with the casinos, it's all about rolling the customers in and having them spend money in the casino. So Sandy isn't really too bothered about the wrestling show. She's basically she just says, as long as it gets people into the casinos, that's all I care about. So it's a different sort of relationship. It's a different sort of venue. It's not one of those setups where people are going to come, just for the wrestling, or are not going to come mostly for the wrestling, if you like. It's sort of an add-on. It's part of an attraction. But yeah, it's connected to the casino sort of thing. So that's the hope. Then people coming to the show then will hang about and spend money at the casinos if they're happy. And that obviously gets into this whole capitalist sort of ideology and ideals. And I think that's a big part of the episode, how the creativity and the image of Glow and the performers are sort of compromised, and how they kind of find that happy medium between getting what they want, having good exposure, getting the chance to do the show, but also staying true to their artistic sort of nature and not selling out as people sort of thing. That's a big thing, particularly with Ruth, we see throughout the episode. But yeah, obviously Geena Davis, great actress, great addition, and she's totally into the character from the start. It's a flawless portrayal. So sort of the big story of the episode is like this publicity sort of kind of scandal that Ruth gets herself into. So the very first scene is Ruth and Debbie. They're both in characters, so they're sort of playing up to what's happening in the wrestling world. And so they're in characters on this local TV interview. And essentially, so Ruth is playing her anti-American, Russian character. And again, when you think about the 80s, obviously, particularly at that point, such a character would really be controversial, and it would be a great way to draw heat. And so at the same time as they're doing this interview, and they're both, promoting the show and they're in characters, they make some jokes about casinos. They're sort of shown like live footage of an American launch, like a rocket launch. And basically Ruth, as this Russian character, and again the accent is just priceless, but she's mocking the rocket, she's mocking Americans, and she's sort of saying, oh, it's probably just phony, just like Star Wars, just like Ronald Reagan. And she's really into it, and it's really funny, and obviously it's doing the job. But then tragedy strikes, and the rocket crashes, and there's this really terrible sort of pause. And yeah, it suddenly goes from one thing to the other. Shock is in the air, and I sort of like the way Debbie micromanages it. This is a new side to a character which came out in season 2, really. So I think Ruth is still very much about the creativity, about the human aspect, and Debbie is a bit more business savvy, a bit more conscious of this sort of thing. So she immediately starts micromanaging the situation and just says, yeah, we need to cut now, basically, and that's how it goes to credits. And it proves a really interesting idea for this first episode, because it's kind of builds on the question of how you deal with these tragedies in entertainment and how you recover, because obviously there's a lot of heat on the character, on Ruth. Obviously, yeah, other people are sympathetic because, it's obvious she couldn't have predicted then something like that would happen. And, she's encouraged by the other rest, said, you're just being a good heel. And there's a naive sort of side said, you don't know, it's a tragedy. They might not be dead, where it's pretty obvious the rocket crashed. But yeah, it's how you deal with that. And it brings up other themes. I mean, it brings up something wrestling is always sort of dealing with, about how far you go. And then once it's happened, because obviously it was a tragedy, Ruth had no idea it was going to happen. Otherwise, she probably wouldn't have said what she said. But then it's how you deal with it. Do you have a more sensitive approach to it? Do you sort of play up to it? Do you kind of put a human side on it and, well, either apologise or you just, do something to pay tribute to the dead? Or, question marks about how do you exploit it maybe as a heel? How much is too far? Because, I mean, it's something I'm uneasy with in wrestling sometimes, but, people in the industry will claim, movies do it, TV do it, so why can't wrestling? It is part of the entertainment, or it's part of the show, if you like, to have like sort of nasty, sort of gritty heels, if you like. And yeah, it's an argument that doesn't always sit comfortably with me, but it is a strong argument they make. Or do you just forget it? So it's about how entertainment deals with these things and how they can sort of control it. And yeah, Ruth is obviously very conscious about not exploiting it and just being, if she does deal with it, just really putting a sensitive, like, I guess, spin on it and making it clear that she's devastated and apologised, played tribute to the memory of the victims. So it brings up some interesting questions about wrestling and about the entertainment industry in general. And I know at one point Ruth suggests one of the other wrestlers is perfect to sort of deal with this, and Sam just says, no, we can't really go there. He just says, unless the audience explodes and it's a standing ovation, there's nothing to be gained. It'll either be, it'll either get very little reaction, or it could even get a negative reaction. So Sam sort of dies that idea down. But we see Ruth being very emotive again. It's a really interesting storyline, and there's a lot of dark comedy coming out of it. Some uncomfortable scenes, but some actually quite funny scene, like when Sandy's telling a story about past tragedies and someone she knew that was had a really rude name. It seemed, Fluff the Cock. I have no idea where that come from, but that she just dusted herself down after like a fire. So yeah, this is running throughout the episode, and we see again Ruth and Debbie taking a lot of the sort of big scenes, their interactions. There's still this sense of tension, but we sort of see the contrast in their characters. Ruth is having is sort of having problems with her boyfriend. Okay, I'm just okay, sorry. So Ruth is her boyfriend can't make the show. The cameraman, who she started seeing last season. And there's not much to that, but he can't make the big premiere because he's starting to get work. So there's always already suggestions that there'll be issues there, and at the same time we get another sort of hint, and there might be something between her and Sam, which is near the end of the episode, and they played that up a bit last season at the end. Really awkward moment at the dance. So so it'll be interesting to see how they play that. They have to tread lightly with the storyline because they've gone to the well a couple of different times now, so that could be because a lot of people see Sam and Ruth as more a father and daughter type, or just a friendship sort of thing. But yeah, you sort of sense maybe this boyfriend isn't a long-term partner for Ruth. But yeah, there's contrasts in the characters there, and the way Debbie handles things, and she kind of says to Ruth later that because Ruth's really conscious about the compromise and about the whole setup in Vegas. And Debbie is kind of saying, just take the positives. Look, we've got our names on the market, even though Bash's name is up in bright lights. He's the promoter. And so there's a little bit about that, about him taking the spotlight, him being sort of a starry sort of face for the promotion. But yeah, Debbie is more savvy business about it, just saying, just look at the positives. We do have a sort of a plum gig, and the girls are enjoying the sort of Vegas lifestyle, and the mood is good. So she's maybe quite pragmatic about it, because at one point the Sandy character gives them like free chips as sort of an award, as something to lift their sort of spirits. So yeah, so that's sort of going on in the background. And Bash is obviously, he's got the relationship with Marlene, and they're sort of getting closer, because originally it was only a green card sort of thing, but they actually do have a couple of nice little scenes here, and they do actually sleep together at one point, so they kind of take the plunge in having that sort of relationship. And we get little hints of the girls individually throughout, but not a great deal. A lot of it was focused on Ruth and Debbie, and also the whole thing with the tragedy and the rocket, and how you deal with that. And there are some nice jokes around that. They're rehearsing at one point, and Ruth, is supposed to, her entrance is supposed to be a zip wire, and she gets caught on it on the way down, so she's stuck in the air, and the parallel is drawn to the rocket, and how sort of unsensitive that is, being stuck up there, and the image of it, just thinking back to the rocket. And so all sorts of things are going wrong, and then the fire alarm goes off, so it's just piling on, so they have to leave Ruth up there for the time being. But yeah, there's this whole sequence where they're running through the night show, and Sam is doing his best sort of deadpan board-like producer, making all sarcastic comments. Bash is on the phone, which really irritates him when he's supposed to have dialogue. And again, there's some nice moments of comedy as you tend to get throughout the show. There's a scene where they're doing like a wedding type scene, like a wedding party, which they're saying is sort of going to happen on the show every night, because it's a tour essentially. So again, that's a different sort of experience for them, where they're doing all these dates back to back, rather than just filming a TV show once a week, which would, I think, in theory, be quite different. So they have this sort of Bash sort of wedding thing with Marlena, which is going to happen every night at every date, because it's this idea with touring with, I mean, you see it with other things, not just wrestling, but maybe particular wrestling, where I think if you did go to more than one date, sometimes you're likely to see the same matches, often similar routines, if you like. But yeah, there's a nice little gag where he's dressed as Elvis, and the idea is it's a Vegas sort of theme. But yeah, she says, isn't it supposed to be a sci-fi party? So he's all pissed off at that, which is good. Some good stuff, and there's some quite good comedy with Jenny, actually, with her character, because when they're given all these chips and they're gambling, and we see this idea, then they don't let their hair down much, or they haven't had much experience of gambling, and that sort of freedom, again, it's getting into kind of liberation for women, or women kind of who have been cast in certain roles, kind of having this extra freedom. And so there's some awkward sort of racial stereotypes with one of the girls when talking to Jenny, but it's we get some of Jenny's insight about the Chinese culture, and it's funny because at one point one of them says 4 for one of the numbers of the game, and she says 4 is actually 13 in Chinese, so don't go with 4. And then there's some really awkward humour with one of the other girls about the red dragon, which obviously is a symbol in Chinese. Red dragon. It's like, red dragon. Everything it touches turns to shit, sort of thing. And yeah, that doesn't please Jenny. It's fair to say. But yeah, that's just about the episode. It's enjoyable. It's not a great deal happens, and obviously it went with one particular theme. I think there are certain storylines which maybe you feel could get a bit repetitive, or they do have to sort of tread lightly on, like the Sam and Ruth stuff. It could get quite repetitive, and it's something they have to deal with in this season. And but it's enjoyable enough first episode. This is a show that's driven by the characters, and the characters are still strong. It's just how you progress the characters. Obviously, Geena Davis is a great addition to the cast. So we'll see how it goes. But that's episode 1 of the 3rd season of Glow. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It's called Up, Up, Up. And that's to do with the elevator scene at the end where they're all getting dressed up and they're bonding. But yeah, that's my thoughts. So yeah, if you're a Glow fan, if you've seen the episode, let me know what you thought of it, and I will be back with more Glow reviews soon. Goodbye.